are some very simple things and there are some more complex things. And for the more complex things, teachers aren't expected to be web experts and you're not expected to be disability experts. And that's why you have people on your campus to help you with those sorts of things. But there are some very simple things that you can keep in mind, and so that when you do go and talk to these resources on your campus, you can kind of give them the information that they need to know. For example, if you have a lot of pictures or images on your page, think about how a blind student, they can't see that picture. So is there a short phrase or description that can be added to your website that will get across the same information that you're conveying by using that picture? Not saying that you have to know how to add in that text, but if you have that ready, then when you go to get the support with your website, you can say, well, okay, here's a very short description that goes with this picture. If you have a video on your site, realize that a deaf person is not going to be able to hear that video. Or if you have audio on your site, a deaf person's not going to be able to hear that. And you might need to plan ahead for some time to allow a transcript or captions to be added. That's kind of, you don't want to be putting off this until the last minute right before, classes are getting ready to start. Try to kind of think ahead a little bit and look at, what are you putting on your site that might be problematic. Things like if you have flash animation is not very easy for students with disabilities to access if they can't see it, or if it's an interactive flash, if someone who has mobility issues or fine motor problems might have a hard time, clicking on those buttons. So I would say, just in general, think of major categories of disabilities, such as hearing loss, vision loss, poor fine motor skills, and think about how somebody in your class, if they can't use their hands, how are they going to be able to get to the information on your website or to be able to click on the buttons on your website? And again, I'm not expecting you to be a disabilities expert, but as you think about it, you think, maybe I should talk to the disabilities office about how someone who can't use their hands actually does get around a website or those sorts of things. And how else could you convey that same information? Remember, again, we're not talking about lowering the standards, but you might need to convey the same information in multiple ways, such as if you have an audio file, you also provide a transcript. It's the same information, just one is auditory and one is written. So it's not a hard science. There really is a little bit of an art to this. But like I said, you're not alone, and you have the professionals and you have the resources. I would just say, overall, try to keep your site as clean as possible without a lot of extra clutter. And that will really help a lot. That's not to say you can't use pictures or videos or that sort of thing. You just don't want to have meaningless videos. Like, remember several years ago, it was very popular to have like little animated birds flying in on your website to show that you had, to show your mailbox or something. That didn't really serve a purpose. So, kind of look at your site and say, okay, there's a lot of stuff on this page. Is everything needed? Or is some of it there just for fun, or just because I can, or just because I like that decoration? So try to keep your sites clean, and just use your resources. Use the people around you. If you have questions, I want to include this interactive game that I found online. Is this going to be a problem for students with disabilities? Just ask your disability services office. They're there for you. That's what they're there for.